The automatic outline feature, when you apply it to your worksheet, will take any ranges of cells that a formula is dependent upon and be able to turn it into a collapsible or expandable group. For example, up here my totals column, when I click in any one of these cells, up in the formula bar, when I click inside it, it reveals the range that this formula is dependent upon. So when I apply the automatic outline to this worksheet, Excel is going to turn this range here into a collapsible or expandable group. Let me go ahead and hit the escape key, and the purpose for that could be like when I'm giving a presentation. I don't want to discuss the quarters yet, so I'll go ahead and collapse that or hide that and then just talk about the totals, and then later on when I'm ready, go ahead and open up with quarter one, which some of the employees didn't do too good in. Now to the right of the totals column I have the average. When I come up here and click in the formula bar, you can see the range that the average formula is dependent upon. Now it's going to create a second horizontal group here because again the range is horizontal here that I can expand or collapse. Included in this range is actually going to be the total column. Why? Because anytime you have a formula in between the outside formula and the inner data that it's dependent upon, it's going to include that in the range as well. That just means it's going to hide that range. It doesn't mean it's going to screw up the functions and have the totals be averaged in with this range as well. No, again, it's just about collapsing or expanding that range, including anything in between. Again, the outside formula and its inner data or ranges that it's dependent upon. Hit the escape key. Now I'm going to have two horizontal groups, the total and the average. Then I'll have two vertical groups. Come down here in the quarter totals for all my employees. Come up here and click in the formula bar. There's the range. It'll create a vertical group here that I can expand or collapse. Hit the escape key. Down here is the average. Come up here, click. It's the same range. However, again, if you have a formula on the outside and there's a formula in between, it's going to include that in its collapsible or expandable range, meaning that when I click on the collapse button, not only will it collapse this range that it's averaging, but also the totals as well. Going to go ahead and hit the escape key and show you what I mean. Come up here, click on the data tab, come to the outline group, click on the group drop down arrow, click on auto outline, and I'm done. There's my two horizontal groups that I can collapse by clicking on the minus sign. Collapse is the inner group. All I see is the totals. I don't see the quarters. Collapse the outer group. It gets rid of the totals and the quarters, and I just see the averages. Of course, you have your levels. It's the same thing. I can click on those to expand them, or click on the plus sign, and you have level 1, which is the average, level 2, which just is the average and the totals, then 3 reveals everything. And also I have my vertical groups as well. I can collapse these or use my levels. 1 just to show the average, 2 to show the average and totals, and 3 to show everything. And I can mix and match 2 and collapse that one, and it's not helping me as far as figuring it out, but in any case, to reveal everything, click on your 3s here. Now, if I don't want to apply this anymore, you can always clear the outline by coming up here to the data tab again to the outline group and clicking on the drop down arrow for ungroup and click on clear outline. Now if you want to be able to customize this and not have it automatically do it for you, you can do that. For example, you can select the range here and say I just want to be able to have that collapsible, not just have this collapsible, not everything else. To do that, against the data tab to the outline group, click on the drop down arrow. Instead of auto outline, go ahead and click on group, and you can see when I hover over it, it says first select the range that you'd like to group, and then click on this button group, and it says look, what are you trying to group, rows or columns? Well, it's not going to work for rows here, at least what I'm trying to accomplish. I want to do it by columns, so it collapses these columns so I can just see the totals and the total and the average. Click OK. I get one grouping here instead of a bunch of groups that are all dependent upon all the formulas. I can actually pick and choose and customize it by, again, grouping it myself. So when I click on the collapsible button here, it gets rid of all the quarters, at least those columns there. And then I can expand it again. Of course, I only have two levels, 1 collapse and 2 all. And then if I want to get rid of it, click on the ungroup drop down arrow to clear the outline. One more thing I want to show you is that I want to be able to get some subtotals here for my south and eastern regions. So to be able to get my subtotals, I can go ahead and sort this ascendingly, A to Z. And again, we went over this in the training video, the subtotal training video, but I want to also include my outline here. So before I apply an outline, I want to sort this, okay? So I've got my groups for the east and groups for the south, okay? And then come up here again, grouped automatic outline. And then if I want subtotals to subtotal the groups here of east and south, again, those aren't grouped, but I can go ahead and get the subtotals of that after I went ahead and applied my automatic outline. Come up here and click on the subtotal here. And then what do I want to get a subtotal of? At each change in region? Yes, at each change I want a subtotal. So there's east, it gives me a subtotal. That's one change. When it changes to south, it'll give me a subtotal for that. And what do I want? I want to use the sum function. And I can add the subtotals here to the average column. Click OK. So not only do I have my automatic outline, but I also added the subtotals to it, and it did it at each change within the region. So here's the first region, gave me the total, change. There's the second region, gave me the total, and it put it in the average column here. Now just because I plopped it in the average column, it's not taking the average. Again, it was a sum function, So the way to test this is that you can come in here, select the cell, come up here, click in your formula bar, there's the range, okay? Hit the escape key, let me select the range, and down in the stat bar here, the sum is 150178, there's 150178. So again, it doesn't matter which column you put it in, even though you called it the average. What was the actual function that I used in the subtotal here? And it was the sum function. I just wanted to dump it into the average column. I can click on remove all to get rid of it, click off in a blank area, and then click on the ungroup down to clear outline to get rid of everything. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel, get notified of the latest videos, and for only $2 a month you can have access to all my Microsoft Office training videos.